believed in. I believed in what DMI stood for because at the time there was only like this AB shit going around. They were in my state. Put that out there. My state. It's a joke. Virginia. It's a joke. It's not even sanctioned. They're not even allowed to be doing it. Now, my beef wasn't with a race or anybody but the system, the government, the people that were, I felt at the time, were keeping me down. But the only person that was keeping me down was me. But I also felt when I walked around and I would say I'm DMI, I felt powerful, man. And I'd be the only DMI there, but I felt powerful because the belief was so strong. Now, once I started corresponding with Jimmy, and I started getting some of the knowledge from this man's brain, who, like Jimmy he's out there a little bit, but he's also very intelligent. He articulates himself very well and can make you buy into whatever he's trying to do. He has nothing but time to write. He's in a cell 24 hours a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's been doing this a long time. And you know, when I started writing him, he was in Lewisburg when I started writing him. And he was slammed down in Lewisburg. And only about half of my mail was getting to him because they were reading all of his shit. And he had a Selly there. Selly was also writing. He became a high-ranking member as well. Now, when I started writing him, he was on pace to be moved to ADX. That's where he's at now, ADX. So when he got moved to ADX, I lost a lot of touch with him. But I would talk to his aunt. And his aunt would kind of pass on messages, blah, blah, blah. Now, when I started recruiting in the Virginia system, a lot of the dudes that, because it gave guys that were not really into the racial thing something to be a part of. You know what I mean? Because we're not on that race shit. And we weren't about anything that went along with that at that time. So, when we started recruiting, right at this time, I kind of got lucky. In my state, it came down that there couldn't be any white GDs. So, you had a lot of these white dudes who've been GD for a long time, who were thorough as fuck, fighting gangster, go-hard-ass white dudes that were now pissed off because they had given their whole life pretty much, or martyred themselves, caught more time, some of them life, to an organization that wanted to give them a boot. And here I came along with DMI. Very similar in swag, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I picked up a lot of them dudes, man. And it made us very strong, very fast. And it really wasn't like a power thing for me, man. I wasn't one of the dudes that sat back on my high throne and pointed. Anybody that's done time with me will tell you, whenever we went to war, I led the charge. I got fucking holes all over me to prove it. I fought alongside my guy, not tell them to go fight and sit back while they all got whatever.
So in the Virginia system,
I got the respect, man. It wasn't
in the Virginia system, right? Who is DMI beefing with? I mean, you're getting hit up, you're getting stabbed, whatever's going on. Who are you guys beefing with? What gangs?
So what happened was, the first incident what really put my name on the map was I was in Greensville, and there was 3 phones at the time, which is a fucking crazy low number of phones when you have 300 inmates. So you have 3 phones in a pod, you got 150 cents. So the Bloods had a phone. Bloods are the deepest organization in my state, by far. No one is coming close. GDs and Crips had a phone, and then Richmond had a phone. So I come there my first day, and I'm like, yo, what's next on the phone? And I get to spinning. You know how it goes. Oh, well, you know, anyway, I got booted out the line. I said, okay. I see how this is going to be, right? Now, granted, at this point in time, I'm no little guy at the time. I'm 270 pounds. I'm walking around, big as shit. Strong, and I will go. So I go and pick, and in my mind I'm thinking I'm going to make a statement, because I saw every white dude that was in there was paying to use a phone. I wasn't going to do that. I'm too old, too big, and just not, I'm not doing that. So I walked down there and I grabbed the Blood phone and picked it up right after count one day. And everybody looked at me like I lost my fucking mind, man. make my call. As I'm on the call with my child, my son, they come up to me, three of them come up to me. Hey, bro, that's homie phone. I said, well, we can discuss that after I'm done. I knew what time it was, dude. You know what I'm saying? But I'd rather do that than have to pay. I'm not gonna pay you nothing. I'm not doing it. So anyway, I hang the phone up. I go up to the cell. My cellie watches the door, and three of them come in there and rush me. I'm fighting three of them, and these are youngins, man. 19, 140 pounds. These are not like full grown men coming in there. So I don't want people to feel like I'm trying to make it sound like I'm Superman. I put my cape on, and all of a sudden Bruce Lee these dudes, because that's not what happened. These were little kids, basically, and it was like playing with my children. Well, one gets behind me, pulls me to the bed, and the one that I was fighting with pulls a knife out and stabs me. Now, both of us, everything stopped when he stabbed me, when it went in my leg. It went in my leg. And at Greensville, we got bangers, dude. This was not a fucking piece of a fence. This was a knife. So it goes in one and comes out the other side of my leg. His eyes are this big. I'm already starting to get cold. I'm like, pull the motherfucker out, dog. Just pull it out and get the fuck out of here. So, right when that happened, they call emergency count. So everybody gets locked back down, right? I'm going like in the shock, dog. Like, I'm bleeding everywhere. I take a sheet and tie it around my leg. Long story short, I didn't tell the cops. I laid in my cell for 2 weeks. About a week and a half, 2 weeks goes by. Their big homie, their godfather, whoever it is, comes to my cell. And he's got a fucking huge bag of commissary. Sits it down. I stand up like, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be able to fight. I can't even walk. But he said, look, man, we didn't know that you, at this point in time, I was like known as the leader of DMI in the state of Virginia at this point in time. Now, the reason this happened is because in Maryland, the Bloods are not as big as they are in Virginia. I'm not saying that they're soft, but they got NBA prisons there, or used to, which is no bloods allowed. You know, BGF and the DMI dudes are fighting guys all the time. So by me getting stabbed down here, I could have wrote a letter up there saying, yo, let's greenlight him. You know what I mean? We could have made a big stink about it, but I didn't do that. He came in there, gave me all this shit, was like, look, let's work it out because ain't nobody ever fought us. Ain't no white dude ever done it here. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? So what ended up happening was we ended up splitting that phone, man, which was big. And anybody that's been to prison will understand what I mean when I say that by a predominantly white organization splitting a phone with the Bloods is big, dude. So, you know, we split it half and half, and to this day still, it still runs like that. And it was little moments like that that made the name become popular. You know what I mean? People would respect them. They're like, them DMI guys will fight. Where these other little Aryan dudes were not doing that shit. You know what I mean? They were getting smacked around, getting their pack took, getting their TVs taken. They weren't doing that shit to us. You know what I mean? So that's why we were able to do what we did. We weren't really necessarily beefing with people as far as like permanent beef. But shit came up. You know what I mean? We've had to go to war over like my guys owing drugs. You know, one of the biggest issues I ever had was drugs in my organization. You know, if you got a bunch of white boys in anything, you got drug problems. You know what I mean? It's part of our culture. So, you know, I've fought more over drug debts than anything, bro.
Yeah, I know from experience. But let me ask you this, right? So you're over there, you put in work. They know you said you were 270. How tall are you, man?
I'm 5'11".
Okay, now I was thinking you were going to be about 6'4", you know, whatever. But anyway, so you're in there. You fight for the. Let me say this, right? So you fight for the phone. To this day, they still, you know, they split it or whatever. But people are kind of like, man, they respect you a little bit, right?
Yeah.
What's it like? Because I mean, there might be some mothers listening. There's people that listen to these channels, man, and they want to know things. Yeah. Lawyers listen in, you know, people listen in. What's it like for a dude, man, to have to go around and recruit other white dudes, man? Like what's the pitch, bro?
Honestly, I didn't have to really pitch it, bro. It kind of pitched itself. I carried myself like a man. I carried myself like the old convicts I looked up to back in the day. I would work out constantly. I wasn't backing down from anybody. I never backed down. Even if I got my ass kicked, I never backed down. And I don't want people to think I'm not one of the dudes that's like, I won every fight in prison, because I did. I did win every fight in prison. I got my ass handed to me numerous times. You know what I mean? But what I would do, man, honestly, before, like, there came a point in time, honestly, where my name was kind of so high that, like, these young kids that were coming in, it's almost like they're starstruck. You know what I mean? So if I would, like, I see them hanging around some of the fellas and they're trying to get down, I wouldn't even talk to a lot of the new guys for a long time. Until one day I'd walk up to them and say, tap them on the shoulder, hey, young, come on, spin a left. And I'd say, so what's your story, man? And I wouldn't say nothing else, Chad. I'd let them talk. Because if you let somebody talk long enough, they're going to tell you everything you need to know. You know what I'm saying? They're going to tell you exactly what it is that they're missing. They're going to tell you exactly what it is that you can do for them, and they're going to let you know what they can do for you. So if I'm walking with somebody and I hear them speaking about they don't have a father figure, then that's what I'm going to be. If they don't have any money, I'll put you in a position to make some. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for a family, well, we're in. And it's a manipulative tactic that a lot of gang leaders use. You know what I'm saying? You basically take whatever it is that's missing from their puzzle and be the piece.
So really, you're recruiting these dudes, but I want people to know there's strength in numbers, right? And in prison, you want strength, right?
Yeah, but I didn't always need the numbers, man. I like the old saying, I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies.
All right, but what? But let me stop you. Then why the manipulation? Why become their dad or become the guy that helps them make money? Why are you doing this?
Because if I feel like, for instance, if you have a young kid who's 19, 20 years old, you see him getting a large bag of commissary. Now, me thinking, I'm not one of them dudes gonna say, yo, let me get your bag of commissary. I'm gonna say, hey, why don't you get Pump Dukes to send us some bread? Let's start making the hustle. You know what I mean? Or if I see a good dude who's going the other way, who might be going down a road that I see as potentially dangerous for him, and I like him, then I'll be what he needs because I want him to be with us. I know if he was with us, he wouldn't be on any type of fuck shit. You know what I mean? The manipulation game doesn't always have to be for malicious intent. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to think for these youngins, because as you get older, as I'm sure you know, you get like a fatherly instinct about you. You see good kids come in, good dudes, man, who are being led by the wrong people because it's their first time in prison. And you got these little Aryan dudes or whoever who are going to just use them up, give them by the pack, get them to owe money, and then leave them out to dry and get fucked up by somebody else. I didn't like seeing that shit, and it made me upset. And I would keep these dudes. I would let them hang out with us, and I would be a patchwork. You know what I'm saying? But they'd rock with us, and I'd rock with them. The whole purpose in my eyes for DMI down here was that itself, man. To keep good dudes, in a solid standing, and not let them get manipulated by, pieces of shit.
I think a lot of gangs and a lot of organizations, man, in prison, right? I think in the beginning, man, a lot of the intent is good. Like, man, we're going to, do this, do that. I don't think people just go in and be like, yo, man, that's what we're going to do. We're going to rob, steal. Most gangs don't. There are some that have bylaws where they're like, we're going to do this, this, and this. Some that might, be mind-boggling. Maybe like the MS-13s, right? But, I can relate to what you're saying, because I've had plenty of young dudes, man, come in and we're like, not to manipulate them I had my own money, bro. You know what I mean? I was a hustler. But they're kind of like, man, you want to see the dude be all right. You get white dudes that come in there. Let's just keep it real. Not all. I've seen some wild white dudes come in there, young dudes, but, sometimes they do come in nervous. Sometimes and I can talk from, about me, personal experience. I knew I could fight. I knew I was a big kid. You know what I mean? I was 5'10", 220 when I went to Big Sandy. But I just needed some people, man, behind me. You know what I mean? I needed some homeboys to make sure that, whatever it is, I can get busy, but not when you got 4 or 5 dudes on you and they're like, man, Big Lance was fighting like a motherfucker, bro, until they stabbed him and killed him. You don't want to be in that position, but just to give people a little perspective on prison. But I want to get out of prison now. I want to take you somewhere else. I want to take you to your what your life's like now. When was the last date that you left prison? What was the date that you walked out?
August 3rd, 2018.
August 3rd, 2018. You walk out of prison. How old are you? 39? I'll help you. 39, 40? Does Big Lance have a plan? Is Big Lance tired of being a convict? Is Big Lance tired of going back and forth to prison?
Absolutely. So I get out. I had met this crazy woman, ended up marrying her, divorced now, but she ended up stabbing me. But my intent was to work. So that's what I did. I came home, I got on Suboxone immediately. I was using, towards the end of my sentence, Suboxone a lot, so I just got on Suboxone because I didn't want to go down that road again. I was living in a motel, kind of like in an efficiency motel, ended up getting a job at the motel. I was a security guard, front desk guy, whatever. Then I worked, that was the overnight, and I would leave there at 7 in the morning, go to my other job in a tire shop, it's a tire body shop. I'd work there till about, noon, 1 o'clock. All I did was work. And I went to the gym, I would work out, so I was still working out pretty heavy at the time. So I was doing the right things. Ended up getting away from that woman who was very toxic, zanying out all the time. I met Brandy. Me and Brandy met each other, and 2 weeks later, I moved out here to Richmond, living with her in the house. And complete opposite, polar opposites, man. She's a great woman, has a great kid, who I love as well, like my own. And I immediately fell in love with Brandy and her soul. I had never met anybody quite like her. And she wanted me to fix myself. And I told her, I said, listen, some bears are just best left sleeping. Let's just keep it in the basement. I don't need to process it. I don't want, because I knew she couldn't handle it when it came out. I knew what was going to happen. And what ended up happening was exactly that. And to save a long story was I basically made her a fossil of the my demons just took so much from her. And although she did, in a lot of reality, set out to do what she set out to do, it took so much of her, man, I don't know if she'll ever get it back. And what I try to tell people all the time is when you get individuals who have had a very, very fucked up life, you don't always need to express that or talk about that. Sometimes it's like they teach, I'm in PTSD therapy now, and they give you the wheel for the sorry about that. And they teach you, it's basically about your actions. Basically, you can't worry about how you think and feel and all that stuff. So, that being said, through the course of this, I started feeling a lot of guilt. I turned off. Sorry, man. So, I started using about a year ago. And I started out sniffing a little powder, until then it was hard for me to hide that. So I ended up smoking in the shed until eventually I found methamphetamine. And once I found methamphetamine, coke was like smoking a joint, Sorry, man, my dad's blowing my shit up. So once I found meth, I started being up for days and trying to be a father and a family man and all that as a methamphetamine addict is impossible. When you're seeing fucking people out there that aren't there, you're hallucinating or you're doing these things or whatever, you cannot be a functioning methamphetamine addict. I don't care what anybody says. And a lot of that is on my channel, and it's so much to get into. There would be a whole different series. But it basically, she has told me to leave, man. And I've been out. I've been basically homeless, I guess, sort of say, for about 6 months now.
Okay, so she tells you got to go. I know you go to the rehab center. There's issues. People can check out, them videos on your channel, which I recommend they do. I think there's learning experiences in them, right? Because I've watched some of them, bro. And
Yeah.
she kicks you out, man. And are you heartbroken? I'm talking. Hold on. I'm talking about when she kicks you out. Are you heartbroken at that point?
I was. I was heartbroken, and I replayed the thing with my mom, I think. But that's two totally different circumstances. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't blame her. As bad as it felt, I couldn't blame her. She has a child to protect, and she actually told my son he could live there too, but he was like, nah. My son is like me, he's loyal to a fault, bro. But yeah, I was heartbroken. The feelings of guilt and shame and hopelessness came right back, man. Because I've been basically building a life with this woman, but it was all a fraud because I've been getting high and I've been bullshitting and I wasn't going to work every day and I wasn't being a man. I'm on my videos telling about, oh, you gotta be a man, be blue collar, but I'm working 2 days a week. I was a fraud, and I had to get up in front of everybody and admit it because I couldn't stand to look at myself anymore, Chad. I couldn't. I wasn't just lying to Brandon and the kids. I wasn't just lying to myself, but I was lying to thousands of people.
The biggest thing is this, though, Lance. Sometimes when we do stuff like that, we lie to ourselves, man. You know what I mean? And I feel like if you can't take care of you, then you can't take care of anyone else.
No, exactly. And I've been fighting to get back for the last 6 months, but here recently, I stopped fighting to get back home. I started fighting for myself and for the right reasons. And that's what I meant earlier in the video, when it's like you get to that point, man, where you realize that you're fighting a battle for the wrong reasons. You're fighting for this person, but until, like you said, until you feel and fight and know that you deserve this, you're never going to have it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when I finally started realizing that, man, it was like this weight, bro, was just picked up. Because carrying around all that shit is heavy. And I carried it around for a long time. But the whole time, if I just loved myself enough to fight for myself, I wouldn't have to go through all that shit. And that's something I tell youngsters now when I speak to them, because I do like a lot. I do these like Zoom therapy sessions with youngsters, man. You know what I mean? Like parents will hit me up and they'll be like, "Please, can you talk to my son? He won't listen to the therapist. Maybe he'll look at you and listen to you." Seeing an individual that looks like me, I feel like the visual effect helps them. You know what I mean? It helps them to take in more, I guess, than some guy sitting there with a suit and tie.
No doubt. No doubt. I agree with that, man. So how long have you been clean, bro?
I had a relapse about a month ago. And before that, it was about a month. So I look at the relapse like it is what it is. But it was one day, and I've got past it. So I look at it like I've been clean 2 months, man. I'm not going to dwell on the relapse.
I want to ask you a question, though, about the relapse, right? We're going to go somewhere with this, though. So when you relapse, in that moment, man, when you finally are like, man, what the hell am I doing, man? Do you feel bad inside? Like, damn, bro, I let myself down?
Let me come up real quick. Hold on, buddy. Sorry. Phone down. Oh, God. Oh, shit. Really? Oh, man. Hey, man. This hotel, man, the fucking, the power surge is out, man. All right, my bad, bro. So, all right, back. felt like a whole piece of shit. I felt like I had let down, honestly, myself. I felt like I let myself down, dude. Like, I went through all that shit, man. I put my family and friends and, you know, people that love and care about me through all that shit just to get high again. You know what I mean? And it made me sick to my stomach, bro. And I told myself at that moment I was done. Like, I was for real done. I'm never going to do it again. And I haven't. I haven't looked back. I don't even have a desire anymore.
You know, I want to tell you something, right? Because sometimes, you know, drug addiction is real, bro. My father was a drug addict. It was tough. But I think that you should always remind yourself, bro, of how you felt at that moment when you did relapse. So if it ever enters your mind, try to think back to how you felt, man. And I say that about prison. I have to think back sometimes about how I felt when I was there, bro. On the, you know, like you said, of course, you got friends in there, and we're kicking it, and we're cool, you know, we're laughing, we're joking. But there are a lot of times, man, when that shit hurts, bro. Like on Christmas or Christmas Eve or things that bring you back that you used to do with your family. It might be Thanksgiving. And you know what that feels like, man. And you got to stop sometimes in that moment and say, I don't want to feel like that again. I know what that felt like for 17 and a half years. And I remind myself, bro. I have to remind myself. Of course, there's times where I miss where I was from or, you know, miss hanging out with the fellas. You know, I've talked about this on my channel. My brother was recently arrested and, you know, facing a minimum of 15 years. You know, and what's he going to get out when he's 60 now? So yeah, I have to remind myself. And when he called me that morning and said, look, man, I'm in trouble. You know what I said to myself? I said, damn, man, I'm glad it ain't me. And I told him on the phone, I said, bro, I feel bad for you, man. But you know what? I'm so happy that I don't live that life no more, man. He's been living that same life the whole time I was in prison and accomplished nothing in life, bro. Nothing.
They finally caught up to it. And it's sad, bro. Like, I can't even imagine 44, bro, and I cannot imagine getting a 10-piece right now. That's life to me. The fuck, you ain't got a life left. You gonna start over at 60, bro?
So what's the plan? I understand.
It's just like, yeah, it's like, bro, that's the other thing I try to tell people, too, is that starting over and over is so just depressing. You know, I've lost everything numerous times. When I say everything, I mean, I don't even have pictures of when I was younger. It's all gone. I have no memories to look at. I have no fucking trinkets of when I was young. All that shit is gone. People have died. People don't, you know, and like, I always tell people, like, people talk about Jody all the time, right? Jody this, Jody that. See, I always had less. Less friends, less money, you know, less time. And, bro, I don't want to feel like that again, dog. I don't want to hear that fucking door shut behind me again. And I've got a case actually coming up in a couple weeks where I might, it's nothing serious, but I might have to go to jail for a minute. And although it's only maybe for a couple weeks or a month, that's fucking, that might as well be a million years to me right now. To be back in that fucking place. And it's just, here we are again. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, man. I want to ask you something because the viewers are going to want to know this, right? Because I don't know this personally. I don't know what the situation is, but what's the situation with your mom now?
I haven't talked to my mother since 2005.
Have you ever tried to? Have you ever wanted to?
The last time I went down there was when my son was born. I got some pictures taken of him. I drove to her house to give her some pictures. And my stepfather and my half-brother pulled up on me with 2 pistols. Pulled them out on me. And thank God my son wasn't in the back in the car seat because it probably would have been a different day. But, yeah, but I still call her on Mother's Day and leave a message. And I still call on Christmas. Like clockwork.
You know, I don't even know what to say to you, bro, because I can tell that it hurts, man. I know that it hurts. I can only imagine. But, man, I hope that somehow, some way, man, that, you know, maybe God will put it on her heart, man. She'll reach out to you, and maybe it's this Christmas, bro, and you guys could just talk, man. And you know what, man, sometimes, you know, if that were to happen, sometimes it's okay, man, to let bygones be bygones, bro. And maybe you guys can, to a certain extent, repair that relationship, because I think it affects you. I think it affects you in life. But at the end of the day, Lance, I want to tell you something. Usually I ask people to give a message, but I want to tell you something, man. I want to tell you to believe in yourself, man. Don't ever give up on yourself. You know, a bunch of people can get on YouTube and say, hey, man, I'm doing it for this and I'm doing it for that. But a lot of people are doing this shit, man, because it's a living. They're making a couple dollars, bro. You know, and that's sometimes what's first. And then second is if I can help people, then I want to help people, whatever. But I think when we're in our situation, man, I think it's therapeutic at times to do this stuff, man. I said the other day on my channel, man, I don't have no friends, bro. I don't got no one that I hang out with. I hang out with myself. Like, I don't have no friends. And when I do this, you know, this therapeutics, when I do these videos, it is a little bit therapeutic. And I want you to believe in yourself, and I want you to achieve all the things that you deserve in life. Not just the things that you want, but what you deserve, man. And, you know, at the end of the day, man, look in the mirror and just ask yourself, what am I worth? And you'll determine what happens in your life when you do that.
Absolutely. And I'm 100% with you on I go live every morning on my way to work. And that is my therapy for the day, man. A lot of times people, they don't realize I'm looking at the camera, but I'm looking at myself. Because when you do a live, you can see yourself. I'm talking to myself half the time. And I'm telling myself those things. And I'm glad people are getting something out of it, you know. But that's why I do it, brother, because I can get on here and tell a million prison stories. But I think that people are very retrospective when they're driving in their car, on their way to work, or sitting in their office, or whatever they're doing. And it's those moments that I like to catch. I like to catch people when they're first getting up, man, because that's when we're like in our zen state. A lot of us. I am. You know, when I first wake up, I'm very zen, bro. I'm very happy. I'm appreciative of my life that I still have it, that I'm still here, because I shouldn't be. And I like to show that appreciation, man. I like to extend that appreciation because I want to spend the rest of my life helping people. I spent a lot of time hurting people. I was a real fucking terrible human being for a long time. And I refuse to be that person again. No matter what I might be going through, I refuse to be that person again.
Well, listen, man. I'm going to get ready to close the show, but I want you to tell people about your YouTube channel, tell them where to find you. Plug your shit in, bro, because you deserve more subscribers. I think you got a message that, you know, can motivate people and maybe help people and also help you at the same time. So do your thing, man.
All right, man. You can find me at Off the Yard, Big Lance Off the Yard, man. And I go live almost every day, tell prison stories as well, man. I do a little bit of music on the side. So we do talk about addiction. We talk about freeing ourselves of addiction, and I have some of the coolest subscribers on YouTube, man. They are like a unit. They're a tight-knit family, and they all talk to each other. So come on, check us out over there, man, and hopefully you find something maybe you're looking for. And I appreciate each and every person that shows us support, man. Thank you.
That's what's up. So I'll put your link in the description. People can go check you out, man. Again, man, I appreciate you. You've been through it, man. You've been through the struggle, bro. And you know what? You just got to keep climbing. If you slip, man, get back up and keep pushing. But I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. And, hey, look, I want to say, too, man, that from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you're doing for all these guys, man, because a lot of them wouldn't have it without you. You know?
Well, I appreciate that, too, man. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. If you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video with respect. Until tomorrow, we're out.